this meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Bill.
Oh, Jim. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Just in time, Jim.
What's that?
Just in time.
Oh, yeah, I can read a clock. The Lord beat me by one car. Thought it was the neighbor.
Okay, we'll start off with a public hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to receive public input regarding the following proposed ordinances. 2025-01, Summit Township burning ordinance. Tammy, want to touch on that?
Discuss the proposed amendments to the 1992 burning ordinance, open burn ordinance. It focuses on public health, safety, and welfare, but also mentions the need to update the existing ordinance to align with the current needs and changes in the state law. It clarifies and expands the permit processing, specifying more detailed information required on the application, such as the type of fire, location, and contact details. It specifies that the bonfire requires a permit and have stricter distance requirements, such as 75 feet from a building. It adds more detailed requirements for fire safety. It includes a section on temporary burn bans, allowing for the imposition of a ban by local or state authority in case of an increased risk. Exceptions to this burning ordinance includes like a charcoal or gas grill, or fire set by a public official or official purposes. The 2025 ordinance expands the list of prohibited acts to include the burning of leaf waste, municipal waste, and recycling. It also prohibits excessive smoke or malodorous emissions extended beyond the property line. Penalties remain similar, but the section on penalties is more detailed, outlining fines and possibilities of each day of a violation being considered a separate offense. It also includes the proof of property ownership can be used to establish responsibilities for the violations. The 25 ordinance provides more clarity, naming enforcement officers like the fire official, the zoning administrator, and the code enforcement officer, who are empowered to order the immediate extinguishing of the violations. The 2025 ordinance introduces several updates and refinements to the original 1992 regulations. It adds more specific definitions, clarifies the fire safety requirements. The 2025 ordinance also reflects changes in the community needs, state laws, and making the regulations more comprehensive and easier to enforce. And I just wanted to add another thing. You didn't notice in your newsletter, we are going to have available the curbside leaf collection twice a year. The collection is once in the spring and once in the fall. However, keep in mind, an option would be to, use it for mulch if you don't want to take advantage of the curbside leaf collection. And that's the burn one.
Okay, thank you, Tammy. Public input.
I have a question, and Tony will know what I'm talking about. The gentleman that lives there, an old Friendship, used to burn behind Mr. Herman's house. You know what I'm talking about, out in the field there. In Ralph Van Dyke's old property, and it would just smoke right over to Ralph's place. And the ordinance says someone has to be out there watching the fire. The ordinance also says you have to have a source to put out the fire. And I felt bad for Mr. Herman. He was an older gentleman. And number 3, the guy was bringing it in from his tree cutting service. Nobody's out in the field. The fire would die down and it would smoke all night to Mr. Herman's house, and nobody would do anything about it. Second thing, you said something about odor. How do you enforce odor? I mean, we all know what tree branches should smell like.
We also know what shingles smell like.
Yes.
Or any kind of-
Shingles, garbage,
Garbage.
plastic. But how do you enforce that? Do you need to have, like for a noise ordinance, you have to have a decibel meter? I think it's a good idea because I felt really bad for Mr. Herman. That poor man used to get smoked out constantly by them people. And finally, it stopped. I don't know what you guys did, but he doesn't burn anymore. So that's good. But I felt so bad for Mr. Herman.
So this ordinance is created to make it easier to enforce and to ensure that we have a proper means of doing so in Summit Township. Regarding how specifically do you do it, in each specific case, it's going to require an identification of the facts that you're dealing with at that specific time. Somebody's going to have to go out and investigate. Somebody's going to have to make a determination as to what it smells like and whether that is reasonable given the fire that is going on, reasonable given the neighborhood that it's in, and all those things. And then when a fine is issued or a violation is issued, they need to be able to testify before the court regarding what that is. The decibel meter issue, yes, some noise ordinances require a decibel meter. Not all ordinances do to identify noise. It can just be unreasonable given the circumstances. And they're a lot easier to figure out what that is these days when you can just record at any time using your cell phone to identify that. But there's no relatable, easy identified electronic device for smells. So you need to do that on the basis of testimony, taking your notes and documenting what's occurring at that moment.
And who would be enforcing the ordinance, Tammy or Jet Mark? I guess, I don't
I
know.
think it's,
All three of, anyone, yeah.
If
So the code
Tammy-
enforcement officer, the zoning administrator, or the supervisor.
Again, he would burn after hours, and it was, I can't say it was happening when Tony was the supervisor or not. I'm not going to say because it's been quite a while since I've seen him burning. But how are you supposed to get, are you supposed to call Kip or the new gentleman now? I can't think of what his name
Joe.
is, or you guys, or what?
just
Are you gonna
just
respond?
call us and then we can reach out to, Tammy or.
Tammy, you can confirm that you actually went over there with, I think, our road foreman one time and gave him a talking to about doing.
Right, we did, yeah, even on the weekend. So, for an example, the fire that took place on Carson Road, Jack was notified, he called Kip, they both went over to the fire and took care of it, so. That same day, it was a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Just asking questions.
Yep.
Get her out.
Great, thanks. Ordinance 2025-02, amending Summit Township zoning ordinance 2021-02. Tammy?
So the first part of the amendment to the 2021-02 ordinance, we redefined existing definitions and we also added 2 definitions. We added special event and we added impound lot, event venue. Event venue, a physical space in which an event or a special occasion takes place. And a special event includes a temporary use of land or structure not situated in a residential district for specifically scheduled events, temporary use or short-term in nature, including but not limited to festivals, circuses, concerts, parades, fundraisers, promotions, sales, taking up place outside normal activities of a permitted use. Article 3, regarding the zoning map and districts and boundaries. This is where the tables are located. In the resources rural table, we added event venue as a principal use or an accessory use. The event venue, later on, I'll go over, also includes some additional criteria. Table 3104, the residential medium density district, we added event venue as a principal use or an accessory use. 3107 table, we added In the mixed use, we added outdoor entertainment facility and a kennel. Commercial corridor, we also added kennel. Table 31110, industrial use as a permitted principal use, mineral extraction, surface mining, and impound lot. Table 31112, landfill permitted principal uses, mineral extraction, surface mining. Article 6, supplemental regulations regarding storage facilities. The temporary storage facilities, it specifically prohibits the use of former mobile homes, buses, or similar vehicles for storage, whether temporary or permanent. When we had section 16 regarding storage trailers, we did in the past allow like a semi-trailer, take the logos off and use it for storage. So we no longer allow permanent storage of using like vehicles for permanent storage. In the section 610.01 regarding fences, there was just a typo in that paragraph. Section 626, campgrounds, camp park, travel trailer park. That's another typo. Instead of permanent, it said permanent occupation, it should be permanent occupancy. In regards to section 630, the parking and storage and parking of recreational vehicles and equipment. This deals with the storage and parking of recreational vehicles, focusing on and ensuring that the vehicles that are functional, mobile, and stored on a lot with a principal use. The vehicles must be stored on lots with a principal use. The purpose of this requirement is to ensure that the recreational vehicles are only parked on properties that have an established principal use, such as a single-family dwelling. This prevents RVs from being stored on a vacant lot or areas that do not have the infrastructure or residential character necessary to accommodate them. Vehicle readiness. The requirement of these vehicles must be operable, registered, and mobile ensures that the stored vehicles are not abandoned or left in a state of disrepair. And addresses the temporary occupancy of these vehicles, specifying these conditions. The main purpose of this section is to prevent recreational vehicles and camping equipment from being used on as permanent living spaces. This section places a time limit on occupancy, 30 days consecutive or 30 days per year, which ensures that the vehicles are used for temporary purposes. For example, as a guest house for a short vacation rather than becoming a long-term residential. Adequate parking. By requiring adequate off-street parking, the purpose is to prevent RVs and trailers from obstructing roadways and parking spaces, which could lead to traffic issues or safety concerns. Off-street parking ensures that the recreational vehicles do not disrupt the neighborhood or local infrastructure. Together, these sections seek to balance the usefulness of recreational vehicles for the temporary and seasonal use while ensuring that they do not permanently alter or negatively impact the residential community. Section 631, temporary uses. We just redefined temporary uses. Produce, fireworks, agricultural stands are good for 30 days. They must obtain a permit from me. There must be space for off-street parking. The stand may operate between the hours of 7 a.m. and dusk. Again, they must operate under a permit issued by the zoning administrator for a period up to 30 days. Here's some criteria in section 635 for the event venue. The event venue shall have limited to no more than 225 occupants. The event venue is generally restricted to the interior of the existing structure unless otherwise authorized in a zoning permit. Events may occur outside of the structure provided it is located on a single parcel of at least 10 acres. The event shall take place on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday between the hours of 9 a.m. and 11 p.m. A parking and circulation plan shall be required and shall provide at least one off-street parking space for every 2 guests. Any proposed exterior lighting must comply with section 634.08. Additional screening may be required at the discretion of the zoning administrator. In the event venue must comply with all applicable local, state, and federal regulations. For an example, someone might need a permit to have a bar. They might need a state permit to bring alcohol. 1 4x8 pole sign permitted or 1 4x8 wall sign permitted on the subject accessory building. An event venue shall be used in accessory use on a lot that has an established principal use. Article 8, signs. Off-site advertising signs are prohibited in all zoning districts except when contractors are actively working on a site. 806 signs in the resources rural, RN, resources natural, residential low density, residential medium density, and the residential multifamily districts. Regarding temporary signs. So we have the definitions of temporary signs in the zoning ordinance, and we just wanted to make them more clear. So we clarified the size and how long they can have the temporary signs. Temporary signs, off-premise temporary signs are prohibited. The maximum duration for a temporary sign is 60 days. The total signage area of a temporary sign shall not exceed 5 square feet unless otherwise permitted within the specific zoning district. The temporary sign shall be made of a durable material, and this temporary signs that cannot be frayed or broken or torn. Illumination of temporary sign is prohibited, and signs not meeting the requirement of the section may be removed at any time by the Summit Township Code Enforcement Officer without notice to the owner. We also have a portable sign. We've always done portable signs. We've given out permits for portable signs, but they were never mentioned in the zoning ordinance. A portable sign can be no larger than 32 square feet in an area, and shall not be located less than 10 feet from the street right away. Portable signs cannot rotate, be animated, or feature flashing lights. Each sale or event constitutes a separate use of a portable sign. The maximum duration for a portable sign is 45 days, with 1 renewal. A permit from the zoning administrator is required for each event. There's no cost for a portable sign. Portable signs may only advertise goods and services available on premises. Letter C, sandwich board signs. We are allowing a sandwich board sign per business. Each sign shall have a maximum area of 7 square feet per sign. One portable sandwich board sign is similar per store frontage per occupancy is permitted. If a sign is located on a public or private sidewalk, a minimum of 36 inches of unobstructed sidewalk clearance must be maintained between the sign and the building. The sign must be located within 12 feet of the primary public entrance. Sandwich board signs must be weighed, secured, or strategically placed to prevent being moved by strong winds. Sandwich board signs may only advertise goods and services available on the premises. Article 9, off-street loading and parking. This is section 910 regarding marginal access. The Planning Commission, there was a discussion about the marginal access, and they agreed to move this section, the marginal access section, into the subdivision and land development ordinance. Referring to the access roads or driveways serving multiple properties. This change would shift the regulatory framework of marginal access, potentially streamlining development procedures and aligning access requirements with land development and planning. So they believe that it should go and solve it. And the last one, Article 10, Administration Permits, Enforcement Appeals, Section 1007.01, Zoning Permits. We just deleted the first sentence, for the purpose of the subsection, temporary shall not be more than 6 months. And then it goes on, temporary sign shall still meet the setback requirements of this chapter for the district in which the temporary sign structure is located. And the reason for that deletion is it's already explained in the temporary sign permit on how long the duration is. And those are my zoning plans.
Okay, any questions from the public?
Yeah, how do those changes come about? I mean, is that something you've been working on?
So through research and through my zoning meetings and throughout the year, we do a recap as well as zoning hearing boards meetings to analyze the year and really decide on what we want to change in our zoning ordinance. I want to keep up with the amendments as well as our comprehensive plan. The next item that I'm working on is the subdivision and land development ordinance. That will be the next on the agenda.
So is this statewide things that are implemented into the township?
So with the burning ordinance, definitely, we have to align ourselves with the state law, and that's one of the reasons why we updated the ordinance. It hasn't been updated since 1992. And so we are aligning with that Act 101, and, but in regards to the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, a number of years ago, I mean, the zoning ordinance was last implemented in 2021. And so after 4 years or so of implementing that, there's just certain things that need to be updated or didn't work as intended or desired. New situations pop up. I mean, you run into somebody living in an RV full time and you wonder, how do we best enforce that? Because that's not the intent of this particular neighborhood. And you know, you get into a situation where you've had hearing after hearing on that issue, and it could have been resolved if it was a little clearer in the ordinance. So you clean it up. And I think it's just an ongoing commitment towards making that a more excellent and user-friendly ordinance.
Okay.
In regards to recreational vehicle, is that a driven vehicle or a trailer vehicle also?
Travel trailer or a recreational vehicle.
Okay.
Which includes all of those.
It seemed like you were saying quite often RV, which I think of as a drivable thing, and then people have pull trailers.
Thank you, yes, that does include a travel trailer. And,
Kid,
yes.
this, I think I know the answer.
Truck-mounted camper, motorhome, folding tent campers, auto buses, trucks adapted for vacation use. We even have snowmobiles, mini bikes.
There's one parked on the corner of Swilling Road and Route 97 that's been there for over 4 years. There was a bus, the bus has been removed. Is that
We're pretty familiar with that
Well,
one.
that spurred one up, it's probably,
I had mentioned it to Tony.
These ordinance changes may make it easier to enforce certain parts of the zoning.
that's where some
Can you enforce something that's been there before? I mean, it's great, is it grandfathered in? Or will he have to remove the trailer because there's a water line hooked up to it and an electrical connection?
Each individual circumstance is unique. We'd have to apply that ordinance to that particular trailer once it's adopted. But if I'm thinking about the one you're speaking of, that one's already in litigation.
Well, there's still one there.
Yep.
It's already, we're in process.
Oh, okay,
It hasn't been resolved.
okay. Because I see the bus.
We're waiting for a court hearing.
I see the
at
bus is gone,
courthouse.
that's all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, the bus has been parked there over a year, which means it hasn't been inspected, but nothing was done about it for several years.
There's been district justice court hearings, there's been zoning enforcement proceedings, we're in the
I
process.
saw the bus was gone, like I said, last year, maybe longer, but I just noticed it was gone, so, okay.
Did you receive correspondence from the planning commission on the changes?
We had the meeting and they agreed to the changes.
They agreed to the changes. Okay, very good.
A lot of that language was cut down too because it was repetitious.
Yeah, I just asked because there's a requirement prior to having a zoning ordinance amendment change that you are approved.
Recommendation. recommendation?
We have to see if there's any recommendations from the planning commission. It sounds like they've reviewed it, you built this in consultation with them, they're in agreement with it. We have met the standard.
Anybody else? Okay, 2025-03, supervisor compensation. Do you have anything on that? Correspondence?
So the second-class township code currently limits supervisor compensation to $2,500 per year, payable quarterly or per meeting attended, and legislators passed into law in December, raising it to $4,190 per year. Or paid quarterly or per meeting attended.
Oh, you,
Oh, or monthly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have it broken down.
yeah.
I'm just listening, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so it's just to increase it from 2,500 to 4,190.
Effective
After election,
January 1st of 2026. Right?
Well,
no,
sort of.
no, 2025. Well, yes, 26, this is 25.
25.
And that would only be for newly,
Yeah, it's
Elected
only for elected,
supervisors.
yes, after election. So Tony runs for re-election and is re-elected, then he would get the increase, but not until then. So that's, 3 years from now. Mark
New
is-
terms started.
Yes, new terms.
after
or
January 1st
5
of
years,
2026.
3 years, 1 year, so it
So
doesn't.
it's not going to increase for the people in 2025.
Correct.
And it won't increase for 2 of the supervisors because 1 is up for re-election in 2025, so.
Every 2 years.
Right, so whoever gets elected in 2025.
It's gonna take us like 5 years to get
Yes.
caught up where the entire board is at the,
I think the state did that, Jim, because the old rate is so old that it's never been changed.
Oh, right. I just-
2,500.
It's just like the city of Erie, the mayor, they increase his pay, but it doesn't increase until there's new election. And that's what you're saying. So one supervisor thing is up here in 2025, so he will get a raise, or that person, that
The person
supervisor will get a
elected
raise
to
in
that,
2026
yes.
will be 4190. The other supervisors will still
and this
get-
is not working supervisors, this is supervisor compensation
Yes, for the
for the code.
Yes.
go ahead.
I just say, the odd thing about it, say Jack's been here 12 years or what? 11. So say he wins re-election, he's here, this is his 12th year and he gets his raise. That's great, but if Jack doesn't win his election, the person coming in
Yes.
who's brand new,
Right.
now they get the raise.
Yep.
And I think that was kind of a short-sighted setup in my mind. I don't know how anybody else would feel about it, but it's kind of weird. the way-
And it's the same thing like with the tax collector, we have to set the tax collector wages before the election. And I think that it was done that way, so that you're not giving a huge increase to your buddy who's gonna run for election and, as tax collector, and then maybe if that person doesn't win, you drop it back down. Well, it doesn't work that way. I mean, it's you set it before you know who's going to be in office. So it's fair regardless.
In a lot of townships, the supervisors are part-time. And,
Right.
Non-working.
non-working supervisors, and they put a lot of time and effort into it, and I think the pay's been pretty.
It sounds like with that increase, it should have been slightly increased over the past years and not all of a sudden.
Has it been 20 years?
It's been quite a
Yeah, it's
while.
been 20 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It should have
There
been
you go.
probably progressively increased over the years rather than boom.
Well, yeah, because I was elected in 12 and it was the same then. And it was even prior to, so yeah, it's been
And it's
a long time.
driven by the population as well.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, they have it staggered by population, different increases.
You guys get the same compensation though as Mill Creek, correct? They're,
Oh,
No, they're,
I thought they were a class 2 township though.
But it's by population.
It's by
So there's a
population.
range within the second-class
Okay,
townships.
because
that
they
there's
have
a population.
50,000 plus
Yeah.
residents. and
I
we
think
have
we're
7,000.
5 to 10.
So Green Township would get even less
Uh-huh.
because they're
Yeah.
less than us.
So right now, it's at 1875, that's what it was when I was working. These guys are at 2,500, so, yeah.
So you get a little more if you're overseeing more people.
Correct.
And Joni, that's how it always is. If the new person comes into the city of Erie and Mayor Schember gets beat and he was making $80,000 and they raised it to $100,000, oh well.
But he's the only mayor, I guess. maybe
Well, right,
that's my thought
but they
was.
don't want to give pay raises to sitting elected officials.
No, they don't want to wait until after election and, hey, my buddy won election, so I'm going to give him this big raise. That's going to be done prior to
To
the
whoever is
results.
running for the seat.
Yep.
It's just unfortunate that 2 of you won't be getting the raise until possibly you get reelected, if you choose to run. That's how it always is. And I understand there's only one mayor, but city council, there's, 4 city councils come up one year and then 3 the next time. There's just a,
The other 2 could step aside and then run for the office for next year, right?
No,
I don't think you can.
no, it'd have to
Quit
be 2
thinking.
years, it'd have to be 2 years later, because you can't, if they stepped aside, then that position would get filled during the next municipal
No need to
election.
explain, it was just.
Yeah.
Yeah, and municipal elections are only every other year.
Appreciate the effort.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
All second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on to our regular business meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from February 3rd, 2025 meeting?
I'll make that motion to approve.
All second?
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve of January 2025
Oops, my bad.
treasurer's report.
Like that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Old business?
Nope.
New business? Motion to approve or deny ordinance 2025-01 Summit Township burning ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve or deny ordinance 2025-02 amendments to the Summit Township zoning ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second that.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve or deny the purchase of a 2024, oop, did I miss one?
See.
Motion to approve or deny ordinance 2025-03 supervisors compensation.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Nay.
Well, you can second it.
I'll second it. I think it makes sense.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
I think they wrote it wrong. I don't like it. Talk about it later.
Motion to approve or deny the purchase of a 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 with switch and go multi-bed setup. You have the numbers on it?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Hallman, went through through CoStarz, which is minimum bidding threshold. The price on 3500 Chevy diesel, $56,033. And then the switch and go, this will just be a cabin chassis. The switch and go is $28,308.50. And that will include a beaver tail, an aluminum drop side dump trailer or dump side. There's one other. Beaver tail, aluminum. Oh, the sub AF9, which is just basically a flatbed for it. So we can put lawnmowers right up on that. That'll pull it right up onto the 3500. We can go mow the roundabout. Skidster, if we want to put the skidster or any attachments on it. Basically just kind of like a roll-off type truck where it just pulls it right up onto the back of it. What we intend on using this for is we'll have the switch and go for many, many years. The trucks will rotate. I think we're looking at seven-year rotation on the
And
diesel trucks.
possibly 10, you know, depending on, Darrell was talking between 7 and 10, just depending on how they hold up.
Okay. We'll be able to have the salt brine tanks on them. We have a patch trailer that we tow along. We're going to put the patch trailer on it. Wood chipper is going to get mounted on one. And we'll just be able to have those lined up, go over and pull them right up onto the trucks. Really slick deal, and we're fortunate to have a mechanic that is a registered installer of switch and go, so he's certified. Something new that we're going to try for a while.
But it has nothing to do with the sale of the switch and go.
Nope.
You know, Darrell's not involved that way at all. He was an installer for Crystal Lakes before he ever came here.
Yep. So we're looking at 56,033 and 28,308.50. Do I have a motion to approve or deny?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I make the motion to deny.
Okay, all those in favor?
Well, hold on, we've got
two motions.
competing motions. So Tony has a motion to approve. Jack had offered a motion to deny. So
Don't we
it's-
do a motion and a second and then vote on it?
I don't know how that works.
so the first motion that was offered was a motion to approve.
Okay.
Sounds like, Jack, are you willing to second that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
All right.
Nay.
Aye.
Okay, 2-1, motion passes.
Can I ask you a question on that, Mark?
Yeah.
It's not a dump bed, it's more like a flat
Oh,
bed.
no, it'll have a dump bed also that will hook onto it and pull it up on. It'll have the, I guess, masonry sides on it where they fold down or fold up.
Yeah, like that, I saw that one truck of yours that has the
Fold down
salt
sides.
spreader on it right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
So we'll have that, but it's basically like a flatbed so that you can put stuff on it.
Yeah, we'll have one that's just a flatbed. We'll have one that's a dump trailer. And then, what's the beaver tail?
That's the one that goes down and onto the ground that you drive up on, the flat one that you drive. I don't know, Darrell explained it. That's the one that you were talking about putting them over on.
Okay, the beaver
Flatbed,
tail.
the one is, looks like a flatbed.
And then the sub AF9 is just kind of the framework for it, and that's what they'll put if they decide they want to put the chipper box on there or the patch trailer
Patch
on there.
We'll get onto that.
And that one, well, I can run down through those. That AF9, which is just kind of like the framework and so forth for it, is $1,000, so they're not too bad. But you get into the aluminum drop-down sided one, $10,000. And then Beaver Kit, which is basically the flatbed, $4,000. So, a few different prices, a little bit different utility, but
Long.
once we get all the trucks eventually switched over to this, it'll just be a matter of buying a cab and chassis, and we'll have all the attachments for it,
One truck can be used for 4 or 6 things instead of being stuck with a brine tank on the back and you can't do anything else with it for half a year.
Yeah, that's the other thing I think we were looking at.
So it's a permanent framework on a vehicle
Yep.
that allows for different, say, attachments?
Yep, just pulls them right up onto it, kind of like a roll-off
Like a
container.
roll-off, puts it right on the ground. It's
Any other questions? Okay, so donated use request. Motion to approve or deny Valley View Farms HOA. Okay, that'll be at the Summit Township Senior Center, March 18th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
That'll be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Land development,
I have nothing, thank you.
engineering, Matt,
I have nothing further for tonight.
saving the solicitor for last.
Oh, it's gonna be an exciting one.
Yeah. All right. Nothing from Ted.
No.
Supervisor Lee.
Hope spring gets here soon and had enough of the bitter cold. I know everybody has. Thanks for coming.
Supervisor Davis.
This is same old, just keeping everything going, keeping everything together. Garage running smooth. Things are going well, and we'll get ready for spring. Hopefully it's right around the corner, like Jack was saying. Nothing exciting to really report, honestly. Thank you.
We're holding up pretty well on the salt. We've got another 350 ton ordered in, and that'll take us to our allotment. We won't be able to get any more after that. We've got a pretty good stockpile. We keep thinking we're in great shape, but after this weekend, we put a pretty good dent in that stockpile. But probably mix up 50-50 with this next batch of salt we have coming in, try to stretch a little bit, should be getting into warmer temperatures, and the salt will activate okay with the warmer temperatures, and try to stretch it, but only time will tell. Anything from the public?
In regards to that supervisor compensation, that means that they're not, the next elected supervisor will not be getting an increase, or will be still staying at $2,500? Okay, I just wanted, that's what I thought it would mean.
And that can be revisited every, how often?
Whenever you want.
Yeah, whenever you want.
Yeah.
But-
Full-time supervisors and making decent compensation, I don't see any reason for it. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks for coming.